Welcome to the Fighter Index, MMA's unofficial fighter scoring system. In this video, we're breaking down a really interesting welterweight matchup between Sean Brady and Joaquin Buckley, two fighters who win in completely different ways. Brady is one of the most control-heavy grapplers in the division, built around pressure, takedowns, and the kind of top game that can shut opponents down for entire rounds. Buckley, on the other hand, is one of the most explosive and dangerous fighters at 170, bringing speed, power, and the ability to change a fight instantly with one shot. This is the kind of matchup where one fighter wants control and consistency while the other wants space and moments of chaos. If Brady gets the grappling going, he can take over, but if Buckley can keep it standing and creates room to work, his power becomes a serious problem. We're going to break down their strengths and weaknesses, go through all four pillars of the Fighter Index, map out the fight dynamics, go through their paths of victory, and see which fighter holds the edge when the numbers come together for their Fighter Index scores at the end of the video. Sean Brady's biggest strength is how well he controls where a fight takes place. His game is built around pressure, clinch work, and some of the best control grappling in the welterweight division. He closes distance well, gets the body locks and takedowns, and once he gets on top, he's extremely difficult to deal with. His top control is suffocating. He doesn't just hold position, he advances it, drains opponents, and keeps them defending instead of escaping. What makes Brady especially effective is how complete his grappling is. He blends strong wrestling with positional awareness and real submission threats, which makes every scramble dangerous. On top of that, he stays calm, makes good decisions, and rarely wastes energy chasing bad positions. When Brady gets his game going early, he becomes one of the hardest fighters in the division to pull away from. Brady is extremely effective when he's dictating the fight, but things get harder when opponents force him into longer striking battles. His striking is functional, but it's not nearly as dangerous as his grappling, and fighters who can defend takedowns make him spend more time in exchanges where he's less comfortable. His striking defense can also be tested against explosive punchers who are willing to pressure early. Because so much of his success depends on controlling position, if he can't consistently secure takedowns or keep opponents grounded, the fight starts to shift. Fighters who can create space, keep him reacting, and force him to strike more than grapple usually give him the toughest problems. Joaquin Buckley's biggest strength is how dangerous he is the second a fight stays standing. His game is built around speed, power, and explosive moments that can completely change a fight in one exchange. He doesn't need a lot of volume to create damage, he just needs one clean opening. What makes Buckley especially dangerous is how quickly he can explode into offense. He closes distance fast, throws with real power, and forces opponents to think about the finish every time he steps in. His athleticism also gives him a big advantage in sudden exchanges, where reactions and explosiveness matter most. When Buckley gets the kind of striking fight he wants, he becomes one of the most dangerous finishers in the division. Buckley's aggressive style creates offense, but it also creates openings, especially against fighters who can slow the fight down and control position. When he commits hard to big shots, he can leave himself open for counters or level changes underneath his punches. The biggest gap in his game still shows up in grappling. While he's improved, he's not nearly as comfortable dealing with sustained takedowns or prolonged top control from strong wrestlers. Once opponents get him grounded and start forcing him to defend position, a lot of his best weapons disappear. If someone can take away his explosiveness and turn the fight into a control battle, the matchup becomes much harder for him. Now it's time to break these fighters down using the Fighter Index scale. We break down each phase of the fight and score each skill to better understand the strengths and the weaknesses of a fighter's game. All Fighter Index scores are based on a scale of 1 to 10. Scores are subjective and can change as the fighter evolves from fight to fight. Here's how the Fighter Index works. Each fighter is evaluated across 4 pillars made up of 4 key skills. Every skill is scored on a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 represents a non-functional ability and 10 represents a rare or generational skill. Everything in between reflects a fighter's ability in that area. At the end of the video, those scores are combined to calculate a Fighter Index score that shows us how complete each fighter is. Pillar 1, Fight IQ and Athletic Tools. This is a competitive pillar, but the advantages show up in very different ways depending on how the fight plays out. Starting with Fight IQ, Sean Brady scores an 8 compared to Joaquin Buckley's 6. Brady is better at managing pace, making disciplined decisions, and staying composed when fights become more tactical, while Buckley's game is built more around explosiveness and sudden moments. Athleticism flips the other way. Buckley scores a 9 compared to Brady's 8, bringing more speed, fast twitch explosiveness, and the kind of sudden movement that can create fight-changing exchanges. In stamina, Brady takes the edge with an 8 to Buckley's 7. He's more comfortable maintaining steady pressure and control over long rounds, while Buckley's style is built around shorter bursts of offense. Resolve is even at 8 apiece. Both fighters have shown toughness, confidence, and the ability to stay dangerous when the fights get difficult. So while Buckley has the bigger athletic upside, Brady's advantages in fight IQ and stamina give him the edge in Pillar 1 because they help him control the kind of fight he wants. Pillar 2, striking and stand-up defense. This is where the contrast between technique and explosiveness become really clear, and I think we all know what to expect out of this pillar. Starting with striking, Joaquin Buckley scores an 8 compared to Sean Brady's 6. Buckley brings more speed, power, and finishing upside on the feet, while Brady's striking is more functional and built around helping him close distance rather than winning long striking battles. In the clinch, Brady takes the edge with an 8 compared to Buckley's 7. That's where his physical strength, control, and ability to turn close-range exchanges into grappling opportunities become a major weapon. Striking defense is close, but Brady holds a slight advantage, scoring a 6 compared to Buckley's 5. Both fighters can be hit, but Buckley tends to leave himself more open when he commits heavily to offense, while Brady is a little more controlled in those exchanges. In chin, they're even at 7, so durability doesn't really separate them here. So even though Brady has the clinch and slight defensive edge, Buckley's advantages in offensive striking and his ability to create fight-changing moments give him the slight edge in Pillar 2. Pillar 3, grappling and control. This is where the biggest separation in the matchup shows up, because one fighter has a clear advantage in the phase that could completely decide the fight. Starting with wrestling, Sean Brady scores a 9 compared to Joaquin Buckley's 6. Brady is far better at initiating grappling exchanges, closing distance, and forcing opponents into positions they don't want to be in. That carries directly into takedown offense, where Brady again scores a 9 to Buckley's 5. He has a much more reliable path to bringing the fight to the ground, while Buckley's grappling is far more reactive than offensive. Top control is another major gap. Brady is at a 9 and Buckley is at a 5. Once Brady gets on top, he does a great job settling position, controlling movement, and making opponents carry his weight while limiting their chances to escape. In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Brady leads 8 to 5, bringing a stronger submission threat and far more comfort in prolonged grappling exchanges. Because of those major advantages across every category, Pillar 3 overwhelmingly favors Sean Brady and gives him the clearest path to take over this fight. Pillar 4, defense, scrambles, and ground survival. Starting with takedown defense, Sean Brady scores an 8 compared to Joaquin Buckley's 7. Buckley is not easy to take down, but Brady is a little more dependable when it comes to defending wrestling and controlling where the exchanges go. In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu defense, Brady creates more separation, scoring an 8 to Buckley's 6. That gives him a stronger ability to stay safe in grappling exchanges and avoid getting caught in bad positions. Off the back is another edge for Brady. He scores a 6 to Buckley's 4. Neither fighter wants to build their game from the bottom, but Brady is more capable of surviving, moving, and working back into safer positions. In scrambles, Brady leads again, 8 to Buckley's 7. Buckley's athleticism keeps him dangerous in transitions, but Brady's grappling awareness gives him more control when positions start changing. With advantages across every category, Pillar 4 favors Sean Brady because he has more answers defensively and is better equipped to handle messy grappling situations. When you step back and look at all 4 pillars together, this fight becomes pretty clear in terms of where each fighter wants this fight to happen. Brady wants pressure, clinch entries, takedowns, and top control. Buckley wants space, speed, and explosive striking exchanges where one clean shot can change everything. In Pillar 1, Brady gets the edge because of his 8 in fight IQ and 8 in stamina compared to Buckley's 6 in fight IQ and 7 in stamina. That means if the fight settles down and becomes more tactical, Brady is better equipped to make steady decisions and manage the pace. Pillar 2 is where Buckley is most dangerous. His 8 in striking compared to Brady's 6 gives him the cleaner path to damage on the feet, especially if he can stay at range and avoid being tied up. Pillar 3 is the biggest swing area, and it heavily favors Brady. His 9 in wrestling, 9 in takedown offense, and 9 in top control give him the clearest path to take over rounds if Buckley gets grounded. Pillar 4 also points towards Brady. With advantages in takedown defense, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu defense, off the back, and scrambles, he has more answers if the fight gets messy or starts shifting between positions. So this fight likely comes down to whether Brady is consistent with getting inside and bringing it into grappling exchanges, because if he does, his control can take over. But if Buckley keeps space and forces a striking battle, his power gives him a real chance to change the fight quickly. Now we look at each fighter's path to victory based on what we learned from the 4 pillars. Sean Brady's path to victory is built around closing distance, forcing clinch exchanges, and turning Buckley's explosiveness into defense. The most important comparison is Brady's 9 in takedown offense against Buckley's 7 in takedown defense. Buckley can defend, but Brady has the stronger weapon if he sets it up behind pressure and clinch work. The biggest gap comes once the fight hits the mat. Brady's 9 in top control compared to Buckley's 4 in off the bat gives him a huge advantage if he gets on top. That's where he can settle position, drain Buckley's explosiveness, and start creating submission threats with his 8 in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu against Buckley's 6 in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu defense. For Brady, this fight is about avoiding long striking exchanges, getting chest to chest, and making Buckley carry his weight. If he can turn early pressure into takedowns and keep Buckley defending, Brady has a clear path to control rounds or find a finish. Joaquin Buckley's path to victory starts with keeping the fight standing and making Brady pay before he can get into his grappling. Buckley's 8 in striking compared to Brady's 6 gives him the clearer danger on the feet, but he has to protect that advantage by managing space and avoiding long clinch exchanges. The key comparison is Brady's 9 in takedown offense against Buckley's 7 in takedown defense. Buckley may not stop everything, but he needs to defend early attempts, circle off the fence, and force Brady to keep resetting. Every stuffed takedown gives Buckley more time to land something big. He also needs to take advantage of Brady's 6 in striking defense. If Buckley can keep Brady at range, punish entries, and land in those moments before Brady gets his hands locked, his explosiveness can completely change the fight. For Buckley, this is about space, timing, and turning Brady's entries into damage. When you average out all 16 skill categories across the 4 pillars, this is where the overall gap between these two fighters start to show. Sean Brady comes in with a fighter index score of 7.7, built around elite grappling, control, and defensive reliability across multiple phases. Joaquin Buckley comes in at 6.5, with his strengths centered around explosiveness, athleticism, and high-impact striking, but with fewer advantages across the full range of skills. So while Buckley brings real danger, especially on the feet, Brady's ability to control more areas of the fight is what gives him the higher overall score heading into this matchup. And that's the breakdown for Sean Brady versus Joaquin Buckley using the fighter index. This is a classic grappler versus striker matchup, where Brady has the tools to dominate positionally, but Buckley has the explosiveness to change everything if he keeps the fight standing. Now I want to hear from you. Who do you think wins this fight, and is there a skill that you'd score differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's break it down. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more fighter index breakdowns. See you on the next one.